So I gave everybody a sneak peek to this one last week after we went through the buyer tool and the investor tool. This one is really a rent versus buy calculator, but you can use it as a buy now. Um, what this is actually doing is showing them how much money they're leaving on the table. So that rate of return we were calculating on the buyer tool, this is actually putting a dollar amount. If you do an apples to apples comparison of renting for the next 2 years versus buying for the next right now and then holding that property for 2 years. I'm going to go through pretending I'm talking to a lease client, and we have our typical, when you're dealing with a rental or somebody who's leasing, we're asking for the rental package. The rental package will include their credit report. It'll include their job letter. It'll include their references. So right off the bat, we know with that client that, one, they've got a good credit score, because anything under 650, we're not even going to help them on a lease. We can't. Two, we know they have a very good income based on what they're buying. And then the references are secondary, but at least those two big things together, we know could get them into the market if they've got a down payment or access to funds for a down payment. So once I have those things, I asked them if they ever thought about buying. And it's a very simple script. I've got it here for you guys. Very casual while we're speaking about what they're looking for. If they answer yes to have you considered purchasing something today or in the future, then I ask them, the next question is, how much are you actually saving towards that future down payment? And I'm hoping they tell me, it doesn't really matter what the number is, but let's assume they tell me it's $1,000. Right? So this client that I just made up, they're looking to rent for $2,200 a month right now. They're saving $1,000 a month towards their future down payment or future buying goal. The reason I ask for that number is I'm adding it to their rent number. Because if they are saving for the future, they're actually paying $3,200 a month right now, the rent plus their savings. And that's the number I want them to focus on, because I'm pretty confident I can get them into something that's going to carry close to $3,200 a month if they have the down payment. The next question is, how long do they think they're going to be saving for? Maybe they already have a good chunk of their down payment saved. Maybe they're just starting out, but let's assume they tell us it's 2 years out, or this is what they think. The next question, obviously, is what do you currently have saved? This question also, I want to dig a little bit deeper and ask, do they have RSPs on top of their down payment? Because if they're first-time buyers, they can take up to $35,000 out. And if they're a couple, that means $35,000 each out of their RSPs. They then have 15 years to pay that back to their RSP. Okay, so I always encourage people, especially with interest rates so low, take that money, put down the minimum down payment. So it may not be $35,000 that they're taking out. Maybe they're both taking out $15K each or something like that, right? If I've got a good handle on, I know what their rental budget is, obviously, we know their rental package is good and they're qualified, they're saving and they plan to purchase something in the future, then it's a simple, do you mind if we take 5-10 minutes to go over the option of buying and what that's going to do for you, right? Because you'll be surprised how little you need to get into the market and how much more productive that money can be for you in a real estate investment versus paying somebody else's mortgage. Okay, so 2,200, that's, before COVID, that would have been a 1-bedroom condo downtown. Let's assume it's, I'm going to bump it up actually just to make this a little bit more realistic. So I'm going to say it's 2,400, which for people who want to rent a townhouse or something, you'll get into a townhouse for about 2,400 plus utilities. Okay. These clients, married couple, newlyweds, they're also saving $1,000 a month towards their future down payment, and they told me they've got $50,000 already saved. Okay. Now, I can probably get them into a condo townhome for $750. Okay. I don't know where in the GTA. I'm pretty sure I can find something in Durham for that. There are some pockets in Mississauga. I might be able to squeeze them into a condo townhouse for that price. Um, Probably some homes in Brampton, and in Hamilton, I'm sure we could find something as well. Um, Again, being realistic on where they're looking, their location, where they work. Um, I'm just going to use 750 for now. Property taxes and something like that would probably be in the $3,500 a month range. I'm not going to include utilities right now. And then it's a condo townhouse. Let's assume it's a $350 because you got to pay your utilities usually on that townhome. Okay. Price appreciation or growth rate, I'm going to use 5%. Historically, Toronto's around 4. The market's been outperforming, especially over the last decade and a half. I'm still just going to use 5 to be a little bit conservative and still give it a bit of a bump. Okay. If they buy today that $750,000 purchase, they need 6.67% minimum down. Okay, so I'm going to enter that number here. I'm just going to round it up to 6.7. For some reason, these clients have it in their head that they want to put down 10%, and that's why they're saving that extra money. So I'm going to use that as their future target, and they think they're going to have 10% of 750 in 2 years. Okay, they've already got 50K. They're saving $1,000 a month for the next 2 years. That's another 24K. That'll get you to 75,000, which is the 10%. Okay, they are first-time buyers, but they are not buying in Toronto, so we're not going to put a Y there for Toronto. Okay. Current interest rate, I'm going to use 1.8. I know TD just gave one of my neighbors 1.45 fixed, which is unbelievable. I was speaking to my bank. Scotia's doing 1.45 on a 4-year, 5 years about 1.6. But again, we're being a little bit conservative, so we'll stick with 1.8. So we've got the information. We've entered the potential property here. Any questions at this point, guys, before I go to the summary page to show you? No. Okay.
Sorry, G, is that on the, like I'm looking at the Google Sheets to try and follow along. This is not part of the buyer tool, right?
No, you know what? I will, let me put it in there right now, actually. Where's the bootcamp folder? I'm putting it in week 12, okay, guys? So you should see it in a minute or so. Just make a copy if you're going to be inputting yourself, just so you won't override what I'm showing everybody here. Okay. Again, at the top here, you can put in your information just so it flows through the next page. Now, here's a clincher, guys, when you're speaking to everybody. So, Jojo, I'm going to use you as my client here. Jojo, if you buy today, the townhouse we're looking at is going to cost you $750,000.
Mm-hmm.
The minimum down payment is $50,250. You've already told me you've got 50,000, so you have enough to get into this unit,
mm-hmm.
right? So right there, she's like, "Oh my God, I can actually buy something for 750." She didn't even know. If you wait 2 years at a 5% growth rate, this same townhouse is going to be worth $827,000. Why do you want to pay $75,000 more for the same place 2 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
Your 10% that you want to put down, you're going to need $82,688, which means you need to actually save $32,000 more between now and when you think you're going to buy to get into the same place, because the prices are growing. Okay, so that's the first line we want them to focus on. I have to save an extra $32,000 to get into the same place. Why would I do that? Right? Now, because we're putting down less than 20%, we will have the CMHC premium. We're not going to avoid it. It's going to be just under 28,000 today. In the future, because Jojo's putting a little bit more down, it's going to be a little less. Here's a quick kicker though. Even though JoJo's putting a higher down payment 2 years from now, her mortgage is going to be higher.
Mm-hmm.
So JoJo, do you want a higher mortgage 2 years from now than you could have today?
No.
No, you don't, right? Land transfer tax, we're assuming nothing changes other than the price is driving the number, so she's gonna pay more 2 years from now, right? JoJo's still gonna be a first time buyer, she's still gonna have the rebate, but we're assuming that she still is entitled to a rebate and the government doesn't take that away. Okay. There is pent up demand right now. Supply cannot keep up. The government can't do too much in terms of um, things that are at their disposal to slow down the market and the crazy bidding wars. One of the things they could do is force out first time buyers by taking out the rebate. So it's going to cost them a little bit more. Will they? Won't they? I don't know. Right. But it's just, I want JoJo to buy today. So I'm like, we know we have a rebate today. I don't know if we're going to have it 2 years from now. Let's assume we do. Your lawyer's not going to cost that much more. Their prices don't change too much. Maybe just inflationary, but I'm just leaving it the same. Title insurance is also based on your purchase price. If you're paying more for the property, you're going to pay more for title. I don't want you to do that. Okay. And then here's the total line. So, Jojo, if you buy today, we're getting you in. I'm just going to make this a little bigger. If you buy today, you need $62,000. Jojo, you told me you already have 50,000 saved. Do you think you could manage to squeeze together another 12,000 to get into the housing market today?
I think so.
Perfect. And is that better than trying to save almost 100,000 2 years from now?
Absolutely.
I think so. Right? Let's get your money working for you. So, Jojo said she's got the money, she can come up with it. That's step one. Because if she doesn't have that, we're kicking the can down the road. If she says, I need another year to get to 62, great. You know what, Jojo? I'm going to follow up with you in 6 months. Let's get you into a rental right now. Right? Don't worry about the 1 year lease. We can sublet it, or we can buy you a property. We can rent that out. And when you're ready to move in and your lease is done, we can give notice. Okay. So we'll come up with solutions to get her into the market. Next step, can Jojo afford this every month based on what she's paying for rent? Right? This $750,000 townhome is going to cost Jojo $3,650 a month. It's higher than the $2,400 that she wants to spend on her rent. This is why I asked her how much she's saving for her future down payment. And she told me it was $1,000. So she's actually spending $3,400. So Jojo, if you rent today and you're saving for your future down payment, it's going to cost you $3,400. You already have the money to get into the market. It's going to cost you a little bit more. It's going to cost you $3,600. Do you think you can manage that? Right?
Yeah.
She's going to say, yeah, I will go out to dinner. I'll go out once less a month or whatever. Right? Or I won't buy that round of drinks for my friends when we're out at the club or whatever Jojo does on the weekend. Um, and Jojo, if you wait 2 years, even though you're putting more money down, it's actually going to cost you more for the same property every month 2 years from now. And this is assuming the rates don't change, and they're definitely going to be higher 2 years from now.
My mortgage agent said they're raising rates today.
Yeah, fixed
Something
rates are
like
starting
this.
to go up a little bit. The bond markets are moving. I'll get into that after this. Remind me. Um, so, and then, so that Jojo's comfortable carrying it for 3,600 a month. She can manage that. She's fine with it. Then this is the clincher. Just like that rate of return we had on the buyer tool, Jojo, by you buying today, you're going to make an extra almost $73,000 in equity. Okay.
In
And this
two
is how
years.
this, in
Wow.
2 years, and this is how it breaks down. Just the price appreciation on this townhouse that you're looking to buy at 5%, it's going to be worth $77,000 more 2 years from now. Okay. In 2 years, you're going to pay $29,500 worth of your mortgage down instead of paying that towards your landlord's mortgage. You're paying yourself, right? So right now you're already up 100,000, over 100,000. Okay. By buying today, you avoid that $2,400 a month that you're paying in rent. Well, in 2 years, that's $57,000 worth of rent that you're going to avoid. Okay, so far so good. You're going to pay a little bit less on land transfer because you're buying at a lower price today than you are in the future, right here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you are going to pay a little bit more on your insurance premium because we're putting down a little bit less than we would be 2 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm being totally transparent here. Now, Jojo, you buying today doesn't mean it doesn't cost you anything. It's costing you
Mm-hmm.
$36.56 a month,
Mm-hmm.
right? Over 2 years, it's going to add up to about 87,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you add all these up, you're still better off. You're almost going to make 73,000 just on these assumptions. And if the market grows more, it's going to be worth a lot more. So what
Mm-hmm.
does that mean in terms of your rate of return? It's 117% in 2 years, just because you decided to buy today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go through this. It's a lot to digest. Again, I don't want you guys to be experts on all the numbers and the math in here. That's why I've got these A, B, C, D, E. Those are the numbers I want you to focus on. How much more is it going to cost Jojo to save for a down payment? What is the difference in the mortgage amounts? Right? What about all your other closing costs and everything together? How much are you actually saving by buying it today versus later on? And then your carrying costs. This is a big one. Because if the prices are going up, you're always going to pay more unless you're putting a substantial down payment down to bring that down. Okay.
Do you have a campaign that kind of does this? It's like a generic one because I've had a few people right now on my leads who are talking about, oh yeah, I think June is when I want to buy because I'm still working on my down payment. Is there anything like as a touch point you could say, I know you said you wanted to wait till then, but is there something we can send to them in our keeping touch, like in our campaign?
Um, you definitely want to get them on a call and go through this. So
Okay.
let's do that June one. Let's assume it's 6 months from now. So I'm just
Okay.
going to put 0.5, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're also going to assume they probably have most of their down payment saved, so they're going to have a lot more money saved up if they're only 6 months out,
Mm-hmm.
right? Again, people don't know what they don't know,
Yeah.
right? So, and let's assume the same, they're putting the minimum down. So we're just going to go 6.75 instead of 6. Oops. So they're not really changing their down payment, right? It's insignificant because they're pretty close to pulling the trigger already.
Mm-hmm.
In 6 months, they're not paying that much more for the place, but it's still 750 versus 770 almost. So
Mm-hmm.
20,000 is nothing small, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their mortgage is still lower. Their premium is actually higher because they're paying more 6 months from now for the same house. And they're not really substantially increasing their down payment. So these numbers, they're not too far off.
Mm-hmm.
6 months from now, hey, rates, you just said rates are going up, right?
Yeah.
They could be 2%, which means this number is going to be higher as well. But it's already
Mm-hmm.
higher, assuming the same rate. In 6 months, you're still leaving 20 grand on the table,
Wow.
right? So in this case, it's, do you really want to wait to pay
Mm-hmm.
almost $20,000 more for that house? And this one's just driven on price appreciation. If the
Mm-hmm.
market stays like it is, it's going to grow more than 5% in 6 months.
Well, yeah, it's been growing more than 5% a week.
Yeah. So, hey, you want to wait 6 months? No problem. But I can tell you it's going to cost you more to get into the same place.
Yeah.
and it's going to cost you more every month as well, right? So beg, borrow, and steal the little bit of money you need to put you over the top to get you in right now. And if your broker can't do it, I have a good mortgage broker that can. That's your script, right? Go to mom and dad and ask for a $5,000 or $10,000 loan, right? Um, okay, any questions on this, guys? I do have a summary tab that just kind of highlights those main points. And it's just very simple. You can use this almost like a script when you're speaking to them. And it's just Jojo, the money, what you
Yeah.
need to get in today is going to cost you $62,000, right? To
Mm-hmm.
carry your own property is going to cost you $36.50 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wait that 6 months to get into this, you're going to lose almost $20,000 in lost equity just because you're waiting,
Mm-hmm.
right? Getting in today, you're getting a 31% return. Where do you get a 31% return? Anywhere in this world,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or Jojo, you could choose to rent. You're going to pay in 6 months another 14,000 to some landlord who's going to use that to pay down his own mortgage,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're paying 2,400 a month to rent plus $1,000 a month you're saving that you say you need to top up for that 6 months. You're really paying 3,400 versus 36. You're not really saving that much money. And that money you have already that you're just sitting in the bank for your down payment, these high interest saving accounts at the bank, they don't earn anything. You're going to make a whole $63 on that. Why not
Mm-hmm.
why not make 31% on that money now?
That's it. I'm buying now, G.
You're buying now? Awesome. So you know, and here's the thing, guys. I don't push them. I've educated them on their options. So I have a 15% conversion rate on this tool. So any leases that come in, you know, out of 100 people, 15 are going to end up buying right now. That's huge. That means you're going from getting a $1,200 commission to almost a $20,000 commission. That's number one. I also have clients who are like, I don't have the money to get into a $750,000 unit that I want to buy and live in. Great. Jojo, you know what? You work downtown, you're young, you want to party, you want to be with your friends in the big city. Continue renting. Let's get you into something, whether it's in Hamilton, we'll make it an investment property. You don't have to spend 750. You have enough to get in for 500,000. We can get you a nice 1+1 in Hamilton and rent it out. Crunch the numbers for them. Now you're making money on a lease that you did for them, plus a small purchase. And then 2 years from now, when Jojo outgrows the place she's renting downtown, we can sell the property she bought in Hamilton and buy what she really wants to live in. Right? So then you're going from one lease deal to a lease, a purchase, and 2 years from now, a potential sale as well, and another purchase. So you're going to 4 transactions. And I've done that with people as well. They literally will rent where they want to work and play, and then they'll invest outside the city where it's cheaper, and their money can go a little bit further. Maybe it's not cash flow positive, but it may cost them 200 or 300 bucks a month every month. But if Jojo's bought something, she doesn't need to save this $1,000 a month anymore. She's already in the market and it's working for her.